Hi, Corinna. I know that you said that your exam is coming up, so let's get these back to you. Let's give you some feedback on your writing. Okay, task 1. The bar chart illustrates the young adolescents worldwide movie preference between male and female. Overall, it can clearly be seen that men like comedy and action movies the most, whereas women like comedy and romantic. Also, comedies are most liked by male and female. All right. Good overall, but there is a little bit of room for you to improve it. So, first of all, this expression was awkward right here. The young adolescent movie preference between male and female. It's really rather awkward, so it's almost like, what are you saying? What do young adolescents prefer between male and... It was just really strange. So, I want you to simplify a little bit, okay? And also, the word adolescence is not an appropriate synonym for young adults, because when they say young adults, it means anyone over 18, but like young. So maybe like, I can't possibly know what ages they're talking about, but they don't mean adolescents, because adolescents are children like 12, 13, 14, 15, somewhere around there. Those are adolescents. But adult is clearly somebody over 18. So it's not a synonym. Be careful with that. All right. So, but yeah, here, this between male and female, you should have done it a little differently. So what am I suggesting? The bar chart illustrates young men and women's movie preferences worldwide. Done. Okay? And this was fine, and males, plural, and females, plural, okay? So, regarding romantic and drama, the number of romantic films watched, ED, by females, S, are almost 3 times that of males. Also, romantic film has the lowest audience in men, with 37, okay? Drama in females is, not are, is just more than 80, and men account for just over 60. Men like, with no S, both animation and drama, with more or less identical with 63. All right, I don't understand that. What does that mean with more or less identical? More or less identical to what? So that's a little confusing. You have to clarify this. Turning to horror, animation, and action films, the number of men's preference in these films are more than female. Okay, that's a little awkward as well. Corinna, I wanted you to kind of maybe change the way you express this. Something more like turning to horror. How about this? Men preferred these films more than females did. There is a majority of men watching action films with 137, which is far larger, not far more larger, far larger than women with just over 80. Regarding preferences of horror and animation films, females are less than 10 compared with male, which are what? What are male? So give me that information here. In horror films, men have, here we go, perfect. 73, women have 64. Animation in men and women are, this is awkward, animation in men and women. So again, change this. Animation is preferred by 63 men and only 54 women. It seems that they have a similar trend. Okay. So here's the thing. You included all the information, lovely, but not really. So you talked about comedy in your overview, and that's a good thing to do, but just because you talk about it in your overview, it doesn't mean that you're done with it. You then have to describe it in your detailed paragraphs. So, because what you did is you mentioned it in your overview, and then you never gave any sort of detail about it, and that's a problem. You absolutely have to. You shouldn't have started with romantic and drama. You should have started with comedy. Okay, and detailing and telling us what those numbers are. All right, so let's see, what else? And the same thing applies for action movie. Because if I'm not mistaken, you actually, okay, yeah, you did it, but you did it all the way down here, which I thought was strange. So what's missing is some detail. That whole thing about comedy, that's a really important detail because that's the one area where the men and women both match. That's like so they're both the same here. But not only that, it's also the biggest number. So it was really worth going into some detail. Now, I always say this, that there's not just one way to do a task one, but there are some ways that maybe seem a little more logical. So one thing you could have done is you could have talked about comedy. All right. So you could have talked about comedy. You could have said it was most popular for both genders, with men here and women here. Then you could have talked about the male numbers. All right. Because it's interesting to say that the second most watched type of movie is action movies by men at 137. All right. And then you can talk about the men. So you can talk about those male numbers. You can talk about this. You can talk about this. You can group some of these together. That's not a bad thing to do. So group action, drama, and horror together for men, because all those numbers are similar. And then you can make a sentence for romantic, which is like half of these, really, okay, where it's like 100 less than this. So it's a huge difference. And that's one way to do this, okay? There are other ways, though, as well. So another way you could do this task one is you could talk about men and women together, although that's a little messier. But what you could do is you could talk about the places where the men and women are similar. So it would be comedy, it would be horror, and it would be animation in one paragraph. And then you can talk about, in a separate paragraph, action and drama and romantic. All right, so there are a lot of different ways to do this, but it's important to aim for clarity. Have a good organization for your your description. All right. So there were some grammar problems as well. I want you to be a little careful about those, please. I know your exam is coming up, so try to correct some of these. Now let's take a look at your task 2. All right, so let's take a look at your task 2, travel. Here we're just talking about advantages and disadvantages. Fine. Traveling is very popular nowadays. People like to travel domestically and internationally. Traveling can broaden people's horizons and live experiences. Live experiences? I'm not sure. Traveling has its advantages and disadvantages. Personally, I think that the benefits of traveling are more than drawbacks. Okay, Corinna, a couple of things here. First of all, they didn't ask you your opinion. Look at it. It just says discuss them. But they never asked you which is more. So you don't need to include it. In fact, you probably shouldn't, okay? It's an interesting type of essay because usually they ask your opinion. In this one, they have not. It's just discussion. So you can choose to leave your opinion for the end, or in fact, you don't even really need to give one. They haven't asked you for it, okay? Now, apart from that, you have really missed a number of opportunities to show some advanced cohesion, okay? Look at these 4 little sentences and see how many times you use the word traveling. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's no need for that. You really have to combine these sentences together better. You have to use some pronouns. You have to use some synonyms because it's just really repetitive. Okay, so let's leave the first sentence. Traveling is very popular nowadays. People enjoy domestic and international travel because it can broaden their horizons and experiences. Full stop. Despite this, there are many advantages and disadvantages of this activity, which will be discussed in the essay below. Okay? So it's one way to make it flow a little better. Use the word travel a little less. And it just shows some more advanced structures. Let's move on. To begin with, there are a variety of benefits. It is very easy, effective, and efficient for travelers to learn both new languages and culture. This is mainly because you're in a real environment, pushing, ing, pushing them to speak a new language and easily understand the customs of a foreign country. Secondly, it is of paramount importance to travel abroad for adolescents. The reasons are that students can not only receive educational knowledge, but also see different new things. Okay, like what? Can you give me an example? So, Also, they can experience different lifestyles in foreign countries, which can trigger their curiosities in studying. Research from the UK proves that adolescents develop strong self-confidence without A and motivation through traveling. Thirdly, traveling is excellent both for physical and mental well-being. It is very effective for releasing work pressure during traveling. Okay, there's a lot also. So now, you could have said additionally or furthermore. It is very effective for releasing work pressure during traveling. Also, it is a good and relaxing time to develop an intimate relationship with family members, particularly in traveling. All right, again, okay, in traveling, during traveling is so repetitive. I really want you to be careful about this. Let's try it again. Let's see. All right, first of all, why is this so long? I just looked at your word count, 433 words. There's really no reason for that. Hold on one second. Let me see something here. Did this take you 40 minutes? Let's see. Yeah, 380 words. Okay. So yeah, it didn't need to be this long. You didn't need so many main ideas here. In fact, what I would prefer is for you to use 2 main ideas, or you didn't have to go into a third, but use 2 main ideas, but just develop them a lot further, because this feels kind of like a list. It's like, okay, here's one benefit and why. Here's one benefit and why. Here's one benefit and why. So it just feels very much like a bulleted list. The why is great. You have to include the why. But I think you could have gone a little more in depth about some of this and then maybe not have had as many arguments. So, for example, you could have kind of combined this into one, okay? You know, just kind of lumping together adults and adolescents. Or you could have talked about the benefits for adults, and, you know, just being about how it's a wonderful stress relief. But I do think that there was something you could do here to avoid some of the repetition. Like, look, you kept saying through traveling and so forth. And then, again, some of your linkers were a little repetitive. Let's see. Furthermore, they can do a lot of exploration, which can really help to develop team spirit. It's no S here. And cooperation. This was an awkward sentence for me. It's a good and relaxing time to develop an intimate relationship with family members, particularly in traveling. No. I would have gotten rid of it. Okay. I would have probably replaced it with something else. You said here, it is very effective for releasing work pressure during traveling, as we often spend time with our loved ones when you know, exploring new places, thus also improving the bonds with our loved ones. Okay, so something like that would have been a better choice here. Okay. However, there are some disadvantages in traveling. And rather than saying in traveling all the time, you could have just said there are some disadvantages to travel. First, due to the cultural discrepancy, that's the wrong word. Cultural differences, I think, is what you mean. Some travelers may not know and show respect. Okay, may not know and show disrespect to foreign cultures, or, all right, this is awkward, Corinna. Some travelers may not know and, as a result, disrespect foreign cultures. Okay, and then get rid of that. This may create some misunderstanding or arguments among travelers and local people. For instance, in some foreign cultures, ladies need to wear long dresses and wear long shirts to enter a temple. Some female travelers are not aware of this and make the local people unhappy. Secondly, travelers are very keen on driving their own cars in a foreign country such as New Zealand. Since they, okay, again, travelers, so avoid it. Use some cohesion. Since they do not fully understand the road codes and real traffic conditions as in that country, many car accidents happen, this is wrong, because of travelers. This has resulted in many tragedies. Get rid of this. To sum up, although traveling is a way to enhance different kinds of knowledge rather than books, no, this is awkward because it's like you're saying it's a way to enhance, the grammar here is wrong. To sum up, although traveling is a way to enhance different types of knowledge better than books can, who is they? All right, you need to say people need to follow and respect a foreign country's customs and rules. Thus, it is ideal if travelers can do some research about the trips before starting a journey. All right, that's fine. So, Corinna, you've got some great stuff here, really. You develop, but you need to develop in the right way. You need to work on your cohesion. This was definitely a problem in this essay. In fact, I did a podcast some time ago about coherence and cohesion. I want you to find it and listen to it. I think it might help you. But I know there's also information on the online course about coherence and cohesion. So those are some of the areas that I really want you to work on. Like I said, don't write so many ideas, but instead develop them a little better. Okay, go a little step further. Explain the hows and the whys of what you're saying. All right, so nice job. Keep on working. I know your exam is coming up. I don't know if you meant this Saturday or if you meant next Saturday. Do let us know. And of course, let us know how you do. I'll be waiting to hear back from you. Good luck.